noon hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, folks, let's get it. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We got a lot to get into. We've got an incredibly busy show. Plus, we are live out and about today at Kenny J's Barbecue in the district in South Jordan. So make sure to come on by. It is worth the drive. I don't care if you're in North Salt Lake. I don't care if you're down in Eagle Mountain. Get here.
It took me 20 minutes from Eagle Mountain.
Just get here because this barbecue is incredible. It's one of our favorite barbecue stops. We want you to come on by and check it out. And they've got some incredible opportunities for you here, too.
Do me a favor, Scotty. Lean back in your chair.
Yeah.
And take a deep breath in through your nose. And just let all that barbecue smoke and barbecue sauce and sweet smoked meat smell just sift through your lungs. Is there anything that gives you just more positivity?
Whenever I pull up here and I get out of my car and I smell that smoke, that post oak smell, and I'm like, yep, this is where we need to be. This is a little slice of heaven.
And you can come here. We've got some great things going today. So you're going to want to get in here before anybody else so that you could take advantage of some of these things. But Miss Mary's going to join us today. Kenny J will join us. We'll have some fun. But before we get into any of that, my friend, my buddy, happy birthday to my guy, Scotty G. Everybody, happy birthday. Scotty. Look at everybody's happy for our guy, Scotty.
Yeah, it's not the big one yet, but it's close.
It's getting, it's creeping up there.
It's creeping up. Thank
40
you.
is around
like 4
the corner.
years away from that, right?
I remember when we celebrated the 40.
Yeah, I do too. Feels like it was yesterday. We were on air celebrating those 40s, and now we're rocking and rolling.
Yeah, but it's not there yet. We may be, a football team in San Francisco, but we're not to the big one yet.
Not there yet.
No,
Do you
I appreciate
want me and
that.
Hans to harmonize?
No, that's cool.
Lloyd, sometimes I think his no's mean yes.
Well,
I feel like it is too.
Okay, Lloyd, you go ahead. Hit the note, Lloyd. I'll come in.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, wow.
Happy birthday, dear Scotty. Happy birthday to you.
That was awesome. That brought a tear to my eye. I don't know.
Lloyd, I love how you always go low and force me into falsetto.
Well, let me take
that.
That dude's got one octave, and it's deep south.
How was my harmony, though?
Oh, it was awesome.
Did I hit it?
Well
Mine
done
was
by
a little
you.
off.
Well, we're happy for you, buddy, and I hope that all of your wildest dreams come true today.
I'm very
That
excited.
sounds like that came from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, no. You want chimichangas in the cafeteria?
May all of your wildest dreams come true.
You know
Vote
what?
for Pedro.
Honestly, hanging with two of my best friends on the planet, talking radio in one of my favorite barbecue joints ever.
It's a good
Come
day.
on. And we got a lot to talk about, too.
Yeah.
So let's get to it. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, starting lineup right now.
This is Hans and Scotty G.
Let's go!
The lineup is set, and it's time to kick off the show with the biggest topic of the day. This is the starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, it is starting to circulate amongst the Twitter world, and now you've got multiple reports that Utah center Walker Kessler will undergo season-ending left shoulder surgery. That, according to Shams, I believe, who had it first, and then it is others have qualified it as well. We will have Danny Ainge on here in about 20 minutes. And we'll see how forthcoming Danny is on that. But we will ask Danny about Walker Kessler, who we're only a handful of games into the season, and it appears that Walker Kessler's year is over.
Boy, it's heartbreaking, isn't it?
It really is.
It's just heartbreaking. The way he started out this season was so fantastic. You know, he had multiple big games, especially right out of the gates. And now Walker Kessler's out for this season. But a couple of games that he put out there, his opening game against the Clippers, 22 points, pulled down 9 rebounds. He shot 7 of 7 from the field. He went 6 of 8 from the free throw line and was spectacular. His game in overtime against Phoenix,
Yep.
25 points, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 75% from the field, went 9 of 12 from the field, 25 points, 11 rebounds. His game against Portland, 18 points, 12 rebounds, 58% from the field. Things were just rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
And looking great. And then that Phoenix game came.
This isn't fair for you, but I'm going to put you on the spot anyway because you're a resident doctor. What would a shoulder, and Lloyd, look, you dealt with the separated shoulders and the dislocated shoulders, to just in late October, early November, essentially say he's done for the year. What kind of shoulder are we looking at? Because, I mean, dislocated shoulder separation, that's a lengthy recovery process, but not a season. Does that make sense?
Yeah, not a season. There are dislocations that you can have a optional surgery to repair, but you can sometimes put it off. But I've got to imagine that the Jazz look at this and they're like, why put it off?
Yeah.
Why force him to play through this season injured? Why not just get it done now? And, you know, I'm sure that the Jazz are wanting to be careful because Walker Kessler just showed spectacular upside in his third year, just a couple of games into his third year. Spectacular upside. After a sophomore slump, that was a huge jump.
Yeah.
And that was really beautiful. So I'm bummed. I'm just bummed for Walker Kessler.
Yeah, me too.
He's our guy.
Yeah, and it just breaks your heart for a guy that just is trying like crazy to make his mark in the league, and this was a big year for him contractually as well. And to have to sit it out is a tough one.
I forgot about that. And I'm sure that that's going to be gut-wrenching from him. But, Lloyd, I don't know. Your shoulder issues, was it something that you could play through? Because you had these shoulders issues going back through your baseball time, didn't you?
No, it was more, towards the end, not my senior year, but after that I rolled over and tore the labrum, and I couldn't throw, and it became, I had my first surgery, and it was simple, but the thing is, it kept dislocating was the problem. And I'm talking, if I went and played basketball and was reaching for the basketball to steal it or reaching over something, it just dislocated. Like, it depends on how stretched out, I guess, the ligaments are. And it sounds like it must be pretty bad.
Well, and this is a rough time for him because and props to Ben Anderson and others have pointed out, he will be a restricted free agent coming up this summer. So that's a year where you want to really drive up your price and then have somebody come in and swoop you, and then the Jazz either have to match, but either way, you're getting paid regardless. And hitting restricted free agency coming off a season-long injury, that's just such a kick to the gut for him.
Terrible timing. Is this the worst possible timing?
Yeah. I can't imagine it being much worse.
The only thing I could think is pre-draft.
Or right as the season comes to an end and everybody isn't sure if they want to take a chance on you because the injury will extend into next year. If you want to get a season-ending injury, you want it to happen in October and certainly not March, so it carries over into the following season. So whatever happens now, I got to imagine he'll be ready to go for training camp coming the upcoming season. But still, when you're trying to prove to the NBA what you can do, you're trying to build momentum after the first handful of games, which he has looked very good doing.
Oh, so good.
And you want to build on that and carry all that momentum into and put it on display for your agent. Your agent's like, all right, I'll take care of the rest. You did the hard work. Let me park this car in the driveway and we'll all get paid. That's a tough pill to swallow for him. I feel sick.
You think about this. Through 5 games, through just the first 5 games of the season, he was averaging 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists. Through the first 5 games.
Yeah.
He was going 15, 11, and 3. and this happens. And you never know why these things happen. Now, a couple of good things about Walker Kessler. I don't think Walker Kessler is a money man. I don't think he's the type of guy that gets his motivation from money. I feel like he's the type of guy that gets his motivation from making coaches happy, making owners happy, making himself proud, making his family proud. So I'm sure that it's heartbreaking. This timing is just detrimental and difficult for him. But I just don't feel like that's what he thrives on.
Yeah.
That's the sense that I've gotten from Walker Kessler.
Yeah. But I do think he wants longevity in the league, and longevity means money. But longevity is, obviously a big goal of his.
Okay, if it's longevity, then he's playing for the best owner in the NBA.
Yes.
Because all he has to do is show a commitment to recovery, show that his recovery has taken, and go out and put some points up on the board when he gets back. And this ownership group and this management group will take care of him. They'll make sure that he's happy and he's where he needs to be because they love him. The organization loves him. And he showed that he was coming into this season ready to put up points, ready to give the team everything he's got. The thing that worries me is that it's been chronic shoulder issues, and it just presented itself to the point where now we got to get it fixed.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of him having shoulder problems. Have you?
Not to this extent, no.
But I think one of the times that you finally get to the point where you're like, oh, we're ending it, surgery, we're going to repair this thing for good, is I've dealt with it 3 or 4 times. Not I dealt with it the first time. It's like Lloyd was talking about. If it becomes chronic, if it's slipping out easy, if the pain is there, if it's completely affecting your range of motion, then you get to a point where you're like, this is becoming a real problem. We have to clean it up.
Well, I mean, Lloyd got to a point, a couple of years ago, where it seemed like a stiff wind would knock that shoulder out of its socket. And so, if you're heading in that direction where you just can't keep it right for a consistent amount of time, then it's probably best to bite the bullet and just get it done. I know. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but you guys had to make hard decisions in your family. Do we sacrifice a year to have a life and career altering surgery done to make sure that we're not dealing with this anymore, that it's good to go going forward?
Yeah, and it took out a sports year.
Yeah. But for the long term, it was the right decision to make.
Very much. Yep, absolutely. You got to make that determination. And I'm sure that was a tough thing to come to for Walker Kessler, for the organization. And it's, that's big news coming out today.
Yeah.
Something I just didn't expect from Shams in his reporting.
The other thing, too, that I feel bad about for him is this is a young team with a lot of young players. You want to develop chemistry. And you can speak at this better than I can, but I've talked to a lot of coaches who kind of, they feel bad, but hey, you know what? When you're in the middle of a season and some guy goes down with a season-ending injury, they're kind of out of sight, out of mind. And you want to keep them around and you want to keep them involved as much as you can, but they kind of get lost in the shuffle a bit because they're working on rehab and you're working on game plans and you're going through the grind and you're working with the guys that you're going to battle with every day. And when he needs to develop chemistry with Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton and these guys that could very well be the future fixtures of the team, which he wants to be a part of, and being away from that for a year is tough.
Really tough. Really, really tough. And it's going to be hard for him because he'll watch Yusuf Nurkic.
Yeah.
He'll watch Kevin Love. He'll watch a bit of Kyle Filipowski. Taylor Hendricks, it's like it's going to be a big mix of probably those 4, maybe 5 guys that are going to step up and take those minutes. Because Kessler was a mainstay. He was a starter. He was a big minutes guy, and he was looking to carry a heavy load this year. So I kind of feel like, and we can talk to Danny Ainge about this, but I feel like that pressure and push is going to go on Yusuf, Kevin Love, Taylor Hendricks, a little bit on Filipowski. Ace Bailey is continuing to kind of scrap and scrape for minutes, and this will probably provide more opportunity for him as well. So it's terrible for Kessler, but you do have 4 young guys that you can really push out there and get extra minutes. I'm just trying to make anything positive out of it.
Yeah, and I think there are some positives you can take away from this. I mean, when you dealt with your hand injury in the NFL, I can't imagine there was a lower moment in your playing football
worst
life.
moment of my career.
And so you need I mean, the conversations people are having with Walker Kessler right now are like, let's prop him up. Let's look at this. If we do this now, the chances of you ever dealing with this again are next to nil.
Yeah.
Let's talk about longevity. Let's talk about what it's going to mean to you as a player not to have to worry about this going forward. And look, you're still going to be around the team. You're still going to be going on road trips. You're still going to be an integral part of what we're doing. This is a chance for you to observe the game and get right mentally in your basketball IQ. There's a lot of things you can work on here. But at the end of the day, I don't know if Walker Kessler wants to hear any of that right now. He's probably, and I'm speaking for him, but probably not in a good place today.
I'll bet he's in a pretty dark place. But he is a positive person.
He is.
But I'll bet he's in a pretty dark place.
Yeah.
When I broke that hand, it was the first broken bone of my life. And it was just before the second preseason game of my rookie season. And I'd had a really good opening preseason game, and it was like, yeah, you feel like your whole world is spinning because you worked your whole life for these moments in professional sports. And, the scariest thing is when you get there and you're at the highest level, when you're at the top of the top, you feel like your body has to be 100% to compete.
Yeah.
And if your body is even 80%, you're like, I'm going to lose my job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get cut. I'm a bubble guy anyways if I'm not 100%. So I guess you'll just have to keep reminding him, hey, this is going to get you to 100%. This is going to get you where you need to go. We're going to take care of you. And then just keep reassuring him, you're not going anywhere until we figure out what's going on with this thing. And again, I mentioned it. It's the best ownership group that he could possibly be with in the NBA. They'll make the right decisions for him.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be hasty with it.
Yeah. Danny Ainge joins us next right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
It's a much-needed bye week for the Utes as they get set for the final stretch of the 25 season. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Danny Ainge, CEO of the Utah Jazz, will join us coming up here in just a moment. The Walker Kessler news is official. It is come across the line for the Utah Jazz, so the Jazz have released it. Walker Kessler to undergo season-ending surgery to repair a left shoulder labral tear.
Oh, so they gave us the details on the labral tear.
Yeah. The procedure will be performed in Los Angeles by a doctor with a name that I will not try to pronounce on November 6th, so tomorrow. Following the surgery, Kessler will miss the remainder of the 05-06 season.
Oh, there you go. Heartbreaking news for the Utah Jazz. A phenomenal start to the season. 5 games in the books. In those 5 games, averaging 15, 11, and 3. And was kicking it up a notch. Had a couple of 20-plus point games under his belt. Very efficient from the field. So doing a lot of great things.
Time to catch up with Danny Ainge.
It's time to talk Jazz basketball with the CEO of the Utah Jazz and NBA legend, Danny Ainge. With Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, and Jazz CEO Danny Ainge kind enough to join us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Danny, how you doing?
Hey, Danny.
I'm good. How are you guys today?
Well, we're at a barbecue joint, and we're knee-deep in ribs that are perfectly smoked and cooked, and we got brisket coming on the way. We got multiple sides. So, Danny, I'd say that I'm on cloud 9. I'm pretty much in heaven. Oh, and I'm headed to Lubbock here in 2 days, so pretty excited about the upcoming weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you guys.
I know. Yeah, it's a rough living, Danny, but we find a way to get through it.
We're going to power through this in the name of Danny Ainge. We're going to power through this thing.
Okay.
Hey, let's talk. Obviously, the big story of the day is Walker Kessler. We'll get to that here in a bit. But you had a chance to go down and see your alma mater in Las Vegas, BYU and Villanova. I don't want to be careful. I know you can't talk about individual players, but overall, this is a lot of expectations have been set for this team. and they didn't disappoint in game number one. What do you think of the Cougars right out of the gate?
No, so first of all, it was good. Good little tournament. It was with Florida and Arizona to lead the night. It was a good game and a lot of exciting action, close game down to the wire. Either team could win. Same thing with BYU. BYU had a good victory against, I think, an underrated team in Villanova. I mean, they look pretty good. I think they're going to beat some teams. They got a handful of good players and very well coached. I think that it was a good win for BYU.
How familiar are you with Kevin Young's coaching style, Danny?
I might have told you guys, I tried to hire Kevin Young in my days with the Celtics. Wanted him to come in when he was about 28 years old, I'll say, approximately, when I was trying to get him to come in and run our entire G League program. And so I've been a fan of Kevin's for a long time.
So Walker Kessler, the Jazz, just announced that he will undergo season-ending surgery. How do you, as somebody that's close to these guys, but also part of the front office, your heart breaks for a guy that's going through this. What's the message to somebody that's dealing with a season-ending injury?
Well, Walker's a big part of our team, and it's a real bummer first. It's like a bummer for everybody. He's put in a lot of work this summer. He got off to a really good start this year. It's very unfortunate for everybody involved.
So with where he's at kind of in his career coming into year 3, Danny, just talk about the impact that this has on him and what he needs to do to kind of get back into it and get back to where he needs to be.
It's a shoulder surgery, and it's most players come back from it really well. I have all the faith in Walker and our team that'll put him back together physically, and so it's a real important time for him to just watch and study and be around and help all the young players and learn himself, and keeps diving into the film and paying attention mentally how he can get better there.
How's his spirits and what he's one of the most positive people you'll ever meet, happy-go-lucky, but this is a kick to the gut. How's he handling the news, and what you and Will Hardy and Austin, what's your message been to him?
I think that just hang in there. I mean, it's not fun going through these things as players, but like I said, this is an injury that most everybody comes back from feeling better. I mean, Walker's had some shoulder issues and missed some games with shoulder pain, and so it'll be good to get it resolved. It's just not fun while we're going through it in the middle of the year when we were counting big things from him. So
whose minutes does this impact? Who will we see kind of pick up those extra minutes, especially on the young guy side?
Well, I mean, I think we got to go look outside, but I think inside we have some good players that help us in the meantime. But we're going to continue to look and try to strengthen our team the best we can.
When you say outside, I guess everything's on the table, from trade, G League to wherever you can find good players, I guess. Yeah,
I mean, Oscar is down in the G League, and Mo Bamba is down in the G League, and they're starting their season quick. Nurkic and Kevin Love will hold the fort down. Taylor Hendricks will probably get some minutes at center, is my guess. Kyle Filipowski played some center second half of last year and played really well, especially on the offensive end. So we have some other options in-house right now, and we're excited to give them opportunities.
We continue to see really bright moments from this Jazz team, and Danny, none better than getting that win against Boston and doing it on the road in your old home. How important was that win? What did you take away from it? What can this team take away from it?
I think that we've played 7 games. I think we've had 4 really good efforts, really good, and 3 not so good efforts. I don't know what happened in Charlotte, but it does happen even to the great teams. You just wet the bed for whatever reason. And then we didn't start out the Boston game very good, but I thought that coming off the bench, Elijah Harkless kind of gave us a little spark with his defensive intensity, and then Keontae, gave everybody confidence, and everybody was emotionally into the game. And, Boston's a tough place to win, and to go in there and have that kind of second half that we had was very fun to watch, and I felt great for the guys.
So there's conversations from those that say Ace Bailey needs to play more minutes. There's some that say, no, let's gradually work him in. How are you generally with rookies, and what is your philosophy with Ace in working him into a point where he can play a real significant part of or a significant portion of the minutes?
Well, first of all, I'm not one to ever rush it. I remember we saw Jaylen Brown the other night. We saw what a great player he's become, and a finals MVP in his career. And Jaylen was playing 16 minutes a game as a rookie. And, Ace was probably going to play a little bit more in these first handful of games had he not gotten sick for a week, and that set him back. And so Ace is, he's made progress already in the last few games. And I think that his minutes will come and go, but he's got to earn them. You got to earn them, and you can't just be given things for free in this business. So when you do get an opportunity to play, you got to go out there and play defense and scrap and rebound and do all the things it takes for us to win, so you earn the respect of your teammates and your coaches.
Just selfishly, I wanted to ask you about Isaiah Collier, a guy that I loved from last year, showed a ton of toughness. He is an assist machine, and I felt like he would be somebody that have a bright future in this league. Can you fill me in where you are with Isaiah Collier, where he's at with the Utah Jazz right now?
Yeah, I like Isaiah too. That was a bummer when he got hurt later in the summer right before training camp, and he's been out and he's been working hard to get himself back. He played in an exhibition game the other day in the G League, and he looked better physically, just a little bit rusty. But his time is coming. He'll get some minutes and see how far away he is, or if he's ready to go now.
We talked a little bit last week about the development both on and off the court with Keontae George. That's a young man that's, to me, showing a lot of maturity, and I know you mentioned his performance against Boston. To be able to, in that kind of a venue against that kind of team, turn it on and play at that level, I thought was really tremendous in his development as a person and as a player. And you talk about earning minutes, and he certainly has done that. What are some of the things that you talked to him before the season about wanting to improve, and do you think he's on track to getting to where you want him and need him to be?
Yeah, I talk a lot to Keontae. I think that, he's got a lot of people in his ear, so you got to be careful how many people are trying to tell him things all the time. But he seems really in a good place right now emotionally before the season started. It started this summer with his hard work, his conditioning. He really was focused and on all the right things, and I think it's showing. And it's fun to see that a player of his caliber be rewarded for putting in the work that's necessary.
Well, we're excited. You got a game tonight against the Detroit Pistons in Detroit. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They've started out the season extremely hot. Cunningham is a complete beast. What can we kind of expect from tonight's game with the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, this is a tough team. They're very good defensively. They're long and athletic with a big point guard that's one of the top point guards in the NBA, Cunningham. But yeah, they have good depth and good youth and good energy. And it's going to be a tough game for us to win. We're going to have to play better than we did in the Boston game. We're not going to be able to have any droughts like we have had the last few. So I'm excited for the game.
You mentioned some outside voices, and I'm always curious to know, as a CEO or general manager, even back in your years as a coach, when you bring in guys that are very close and have relied on AAU coaches and high school coaches and college coaches and close family members for all the years in their life and their development, and to try to say, okay, we need to hone in on what we're telling you to do. I know you have a lot of other people telling you, and they've got opinions, and you love and trust and respect them, but you got to listen to us. What are those? How difficult is that for sometimes for players to kind of quiet some of the outside noise and just focus in on what this team is asking him to do?
Well, anybody that's been a parent knows the answer to that question. Your kids don't always listen to you, and sometimes it's someone else that connects with them and gets them to think right. And sometimes they have to learn the hard way. And everybody's different. Every child is different. Every player we get in, especially young players, they're at a different phase of life, a different phase of understanding who they need to listen to. And it's one of the most important things that we talk to players about in figuring out in their careers is who are you listening to? And, in a world of social media, that is more complex. But we're trying to get the right people around them, the right players in the locker room, the right staff working with them. And we have a good coach that's a great communicator. And I just think that, hopefully like we just talked about with Keontae, I don't know who he's listening to and who he would tell you, but he feels like by the way he's going about his job, I don't care who it is, he's listening to the right people because he's doing the right things.
Well, Danny, I know you got Saturday off. You play at Minnesota Friday, and then you're at home against Minnesota Monday. You got a nice little Saturday, Sunday window. How about we get you up in the booth with Greg Wrubell and I calling on this Texas Tech BYU game?
I would love it, but I'm headed out on the road to go watch some early season college basketball. Headed to North Carolina and New York City and Louisville, Kentucky. I got a lot of games to cover in the next couple of weeks.
The work never stops.
Can you watch a game just as a fan of the game of basketball, or are you always analyzing players and strengths and weaknesses and looking at the X's and O's, or can you just mentally disconnect and enjoy a game?
Oh, I can watch football that way, but in basketball, I'm always analyzing. I'm analyzing the personalities, how they're connecting with other players, their interaction with referees, with coaches, how they respond to bad play and how they respond to good play. Yeah, I don't know. That's just how I'm wired, and I've always been that way.
Well, you're also very gracious.
I like to watch the players.
You're also very gracious with your time, and the camera caught you a few times in Vegas, and you're busy with conversation. How do you even get to watch a game with as many people that want to talk to you?
Yeah, no, I think that I enjoy the environment of the games, and there's dead times in sports where you have time to talk to people, and I enjoy the people and the business part of the business part.
I was telling Hans the story. I did the Jazz half and post game shows for a lot of years with the late great Tom Nasalki, and we would sit there and watch a game, and Tom would look at a player in the fourth quarter or in crunch time going to a free throw line, and he'd say, he's 2 for 2, or he's 1 for 2. He's like, oh, no, he's going to miss both. And he would just tell that by the body language. And he was right about, 75, 80% of the time, because as a coach, he just could read body language. Is it sometimes that telling on guys when you can really look at a guy and say, I can tell where he's at mentally?
Oh, yeah, you can see where they're at. I don't know if I could project if he's going to make or miss shots, but I can tell where he's at mentally. A lot of players are very demonstrative and wear their emotions on their sleeves, and some players keep everything inside and hide what they're really feeling, but you can still see some. But yeah, it's fun because like every player is so different in how they approach this game and how they approach life, and that's what makes it fun. It would be boring. It would be a boring world if we were all the same.
Well, Danny, I know Jazz Nation is sending Walker Kessler all their love, and hopefully he can recover, heal, and get back in the same shape and form he was as he went out, because, man, those first 5 games were amazing. He was great in those first 5.
Yeah, we'll just try to keep him involved with the team as much as we can, and we have a great staff of people that'll get him right, and I think Walker will be in a good spot to come back better than ever.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for your time as always.
Danny, thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
There he is, Danny Ainge, CEO of the Utah Jazz.
So, a labrum, a tear. He mentioned that he had spent some time off the court with shoulder pain in the past.
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah, he said that the shoulder has been a problem.
So this is a really tough decision between ownership, management, Walker Kessler sitting down and saying, is it the right time?
Yeah.
And what do I lose? What is the cost? And it looks like they all came to the decision of, we can get you. Danny mentioned it multiple times. This is a surgery that most people recover from, and when they recover, they feel better than before the surgery. So he feels like Walker Kessler is going to be fine. It'll be a good recovery, but it is a season. It is extremely difficult. But I would be more shocked to see Walker Kessler come back and not look good than I would if he just came back and looked as good, if not better, after the recovery.
Hans and Scotty coming up next, another edition of Whole World News, and we'll transition into your Cougar preview show live here at Kenny J's Barbecue in the District in South Jordan. Incredible ribs, brisket, you name it. They've got a great package available for you for your Thanksgiving dinner. We'll talk to Kenny about that and some great opportunities for you to help out in their charity opportunities as well. It's all right here at Kenny J's Barbecue in the District in South Jordan, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It doesn't get much bigger than this. BYU and Texas Tech, your home for the best coverage of Cougar football, is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Big thanks to Danny Ainge for joining us, breaking down the Walker Kessler injury, the thoughts on him and his long-term prognosis. And again, if you're just joining us and you missed it, go to our podcasting feed, Hans and Scotty. Just search that and subscribe to our podcasting feed. You get individual interviews. You get full shows. Our Sunday morning podcast that's exclusive to the feed. So everything you need is right there on that podcasting feed, including soon-to-be-posted that Danny Ainge conversation.
It was a great conversation. His take on Walker Kessler. I did get an update for the Isaiah Collier situation because he's a guy that, coming out of last season, an assist machine, a very, very, very tough guy, brings energy to the court. I've been wondering when we're going to potentially see Isaiah Collier, and kind of felt like he was leaving it open to fairly soon potentially.
That's the vibe I got from it. Yeah,
fairly soon potentially for Isaiah Collier. He went through some of the minute adjustments that we'll see from the Jazz with Walker Kessler off the court, and he also went over what is going to potentially go down tonight against Detroit, the remainder of this road trip that they're on, and some other things. So if you didn't get to hear that, go back and listen to it.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
It's a much-needed bye week for the Utes as they get set for the final stretch of the 25 season. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is your Cougar preview show live here at Kenny J's Barbecue in the District in South Jordan. I want people to come on by, and if you have not had this barbecue and you're thinking, okay, it's Utah, all the barbecues the same. No, it is not. This is some of the best barbecue you'll ever have, not just in the state of Utah, but anywhere, period. Brisket, phenomenal. Ribs, phenomenal. We want you to come by and try it out. It's Kenny J's Barbecue in the District in South Jordan. Get here now, and if nothing else, go get yourself some banana pudding, too.
Oh, it's all really good, and it's fun to see some good traffic here for their lunch. I'm glad that Kenny J's is picking up, and you always know it's a good barbecue joint when it's packed for lunch and packed for dinner.
Yep.
And that's Kenny. So come in, try some of his amazing brisket, some of his great ribs. You know, Scotty and I always suggest the nachos. He fries his nacho chips fresh here in-house in tallow, so you get a nice crunchy chip with some great sauces, some amazing meats on top, some great cheese, some beans. It's just delicious nachos. Come in and have a set.
Let's do it. All right, it is your Cougar preview show, getting you ready for the biggest game of the year so far in the Big 12. BYU, Texas Tech. Chris Level, sideline reporter for Texas Tech, will join us a little bit later on. He's been on the show a bunch of times, one of our favorite dudes that covers the Big 12. But, Hans, last night, the college football playoffs came out. You asked me, I don't know if we had this conversation on the air or off the air. I said I thought 7-8. You thought they'd be in the 6-7 range, and boom, right there, number 7.
Number 7, it kind of hit exactly where we thought it would, and I didn't expect Texas Tech to be right there with them, 7 and 8. So that kind of highlights this game. I think that this game is going to be heavily viewed. Game day is out there. All eyeballs are going to be on it, and there will never be a more important game for BYU to solidify the top 10 ranking, to solidify that number, to prove to the country and all the viewers that they're the real deal and that they're here to stay, because everybody wants to doubt them. Mm-hmm. Everybody. They've been doubted since the minute the true freshman was announced. They were taken out of the top 25. The AP took a few weeks to even get them back into the top 25. They've clawed their way to 8-0 with some big comebacks and some big wins over ranked teams, beating Iowa State, beating Utah, beating teams that had a lot to prove, and BYU just continued to win. And I think everybody is still sitting there like, they're not real. This isn't real. At least that's the feel I get. Now, I feel like the CFP selection committee said, no, we think they're real.
They're real.
So we're putting them in it at number 7. And then the CFP said, but we're going to make sure they're real, and we're going to put Texas Tech right there next to them at 8. And I think that this is a massive game. 2 top 10 teams in the Big 12 taking on each other. 2 of only 4 teams in the Big 12 that showed up in the top 25. So it is time for BYU to flex their muscles and to show the country what they're all about.
By the way, Utah getting some good respect as well, coming in at 13. Remember, this is a 12-team playoff here, too. So Utah in the cusp of being in the conversation of an at-large bid if they're unable to get into that conference championship game. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow on the Ute preview show. But, Hans, you're around like the NCAA basketball committee, the football committee on the college football playoff. These committees make statements, and you hit it right on the head. That was a major statement made of, okay, you know what? We're not quite sure what to make of this game on Saturday, so we're going to slot them in right next to each other. And if you think that they think more about BYU than Texas Tech, they really don't. It's 7A, 7B is what they're.
And they know that they're going to play.
And they know they're going to play. There's a reason they were right next to each other. They could have had Texas Tech 7 and BYU 8, but BYU's undefeated, so they put them ahead of Texas Tech. Essentially, they are looking at those teams as the same exact team. And then whoever wins will be dropped out of the top 12, or at least down into the double digits, 10, 11, and then you'll see that other team kind of hold steady there at that 6 or 7 mark. So this is such a massive game because the committee is saying, we don't know which one to choose, so we're going to put both of them in, but don't think both of them are right there on the cusp of getting, of right there being an at-large if the other team wins the outright conference championship in the championship game. There's whoever loses this game is going to take a tumble, and it's going to be imperative for BYU to win this game.
So what's going to be interesting, if BYU does what they should do and beats Texas Tech, you just mentioned it, to hold steady, that would put them at 9-0. That would leave them as one of only 4 undefeated teams, and they just beat the number 8 team in the country. I actually think that they'll jump 1, if not 2, of the 1-loss teams in Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss. This could get them as high as 5. The highest they got last year at 9-0 was 6.
Yeah.
I believe 6.
I think that's right.
6 was their peak CFP ranking last year at 9-0. I think 9-0 with a win over Texas Tech gets them to 5. And what's interesting is they slotted a 1 through 12. They built out their playoffs, And, you talked about this. First round of playoffs show BYU hosting Notre Dame at LaVell Edwards Stadium. It's stuff like that just gets...
Inject that into my veins, by the way.
It just gets... It raises the stakes.
Yes.
And I love seeing it. Like, I'm looking at it like, oh, my gosh. BYU as a 7 versus Notre Dame as an 11. Was that right?
Yep.
I believe that's how they had that. No, sorry. Yeah, BYU is a 7, Notre Dame is a 10. And playing at LaVell Edwards Stadium in the first round, I don't know. I love to see it. I just am hoping players don't see it. I'm hoping coaches don't see it. I hope they all continue to ignore it because that stuff just gets in your way, man.
Yeah.
It gets in your mind.
Hey, you ready for another? Vegas has already weighed in. If Notre Dame were to play at BYU, they've already set the odd where the teams are at right now. This is all just hypothetical.
Speculation.
But they do go to this is betag.com.
Okay, so this would be BYU versus Notre Dame at home
at LaVell Edwards Stadium, based on the teams right now. And again, they do go to the odds makers on this and say, hey, and I've used this service as well with these guys and say, hey, you know what, if these teams were going to play at a neutral site, what would the odds be? And they talk to the odds makers and they come back with what it would be. You want to take a guess as to what they said?
Well, knowing what Vegas is trying to do, Vegas is just trying to get people to bet.
Yep.
So my guess is they're going to waive a 9.5.
BYU 7.5.
Dog.
No, favorite. Oh, no, wait a minute.
A dog.
No, they got BYU as the favorite. Notre Dame 7.5.
So they.
Oh, no, they don't. No, you're right.
BYU's the underdog,
because I was looking at. I thought it was a typo because they got BYU and the odds of if they win playing Indiana. And so I was assuming that they were going to have. So I'm like, plus 7.5, but they got to move it on. But they also have Notre Dame and Indiana odds. But yeah, it's Notre Dame as a 7.5.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because that's you know what Vegas is just trying to do.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at what Vegas has done in every BYU game.
Yep.
How many times has BYU been the underdog? 3?
Yeah.
I think 3 times.
I haven't even seen what's the line this weekend.
It's Texas Tech 7.5. No, it's Texas Tech 10.5 is what it opened. Yeah, it was Texas Tech 10.5 on open.
Yeah.
Here, I'll tell you right now. It is currently, Texas Tech at 10.5.
By the way, if BYU were to beat Notre Dame, they have the odds on the Indiana game. That's why I thought that there must have been a typo because they project.
Indiana 13.5.
12.
Yeah. Vegas knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get the BYU fans to,
Like, we know you don't like to gamble, but we're going to push your buttons enough to try to get you to move that
exactly.
number.
And it's like, okay, if they're going to be a national power, we have to find a way to engage this fan base in gambling. You have to.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because nobody's ever going to put money on BYU.
Yeah.
Unless the line shows so heavy and people are like, oh, it gets their emotions. They're like, how dare you disrespect us?
Yeah.
And then you get off your wallet and you put $100 on it, and Vegas has you because all they're trying to do is the break-even point.
Yep. They just want that. The juice.
They want as much money on Texas Tech as is on BYU, and they want to collect that interior pot.
Yep.
That's it. They don't want significant losses. And if they favor BYU, and thousands of Texas Tech fans are already gambling on the game, and that gets thousands of more, they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
Because then they just lose a boatload when BYU loses or wins.
We cannot stress this enough. Never feel disrespected by the Vegas odds. Don't ever look at that like, oh, they disrespecting us. They can miss and miss badly, and it happens every now and then. But all they're trying to do, they're as much of a fan of you as they are the other team. They just want that thing to go right down the middle.
Yeah.
Because they just want that little shave off the top. And if it's a 50-50, boom, they'll take it and they'll be very happy.
Yeah, they definitely don't want all the leverage on one side.
No.
And then they suffer a massive loss. That's not what they're trying to do. So I get it. And you know what's great? BYU continues to crack these odds. They continue to crack Vegas. And they have beat the odds many, many times, and they'll continue to do it. Texas Tech, a 10.5-point favorite in this game, that's a slap in the face. Now, we know what Vegas is trying to do, but it's a slap in the face. BYU fans look at it as a slight. They're like, this is not happening. So I like where they currently have it. I like the disrespect. I hope that the players take it that way, and I hope they show them what they're all about. But a 7-8 matchup, game day couldn't have picked a better game.
No.
This is a 10 o'clock local kick. It's 11 o'clock central kick. Greg and I will be in the booth at 8, I think, kicking off our pregame. It's going to be an early morning. But what I love is this comes right out of game day activities and right into the BYU Texas Tech game.
Yeah. So this is going to be essentially a noon kickoff Eastern time
on ABC.
On ABC. So, how many people back east are going to watch watch a game that starts at 8:30? Not a lot. I mean, just be honest. How well are you able to watch a game starting at 10:30 p.m.? Doesn't happen very often. So there's no excuses. You got the spotlight, you got network TV, you got game day, and you got a midday Eastern kickoff.
So, Scotty, the Big 12, I believe this was the last time I looked, and that was like a week ago. The Big 12 has one game that has gone 5 million plus viewers, and it was TCU versus UNC. It was the Bill Belichick game.
The Bill Belichick game.
That people were just tuning in. They wanted to see what the whole Bill Belichick story was all about. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right.
UNC TCU, right?
Yep.
Other than that, I don't think they've had a 5 million viewership game.
This could top it.
This needs to break 5. This has got to crack 5.
Yeah.
The Big 12 has to flex their muscles. Now, they put it in the right slot. They put it on the right delivery. It's in everybody's face. It'll be promoted big. But this needs to be a 5+ million. Remember, BYU Colorado bowl game got 8.6 million.
Yeah.
They blew the ceiling off viewership. So I know people out there, I know they're curious and interested. And you talked about back east. It's going to be noon for Eastern time.
Yeah.
It's noon. People are grabbing a little bit of lunch. They're settling in front of their TV, and they're going to be watching BYU Texas Tech. If BYU does what I know that they can do, and the true freshman impresses, I could see BYU just off of interest, views, and productivity. I could see them moving into the top 5.
Oh, yeah. Depending on what else happens.
I think they're going to jump 2 one-loss teams.
They won't jump Alabama.
And depending on who does what in front of them.
Yeah.
But I really think they could jump into the top 5.
Hans and Scotty, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's another battle for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone has it covered. The Aggies return home to Logan for a battle against the Nevada Wolfpack. Your home for all the play-by-play coverage of Aggie football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are live here at Kenny J's Barbecue, the district in South Jordan. Come on down, check out this barbecue. It is flat out incredible. Some of the best barbecue you'll ever have. And it would, they've got a lot of food here. It may not slow down the metabolism of one Mitch Juergens, who joins us now, but he could probably do some damage here.
Oh, he would nail these burnt-in pork belly bits that are just incredible. Mitch, where are you, and how quick can you get here?
Dang it, Hans. I'm freaking I'm hungry now.
These are so good, man. They're candied pork belly burnt ends, and they are fall apart. They are delicious. I don't know where exactly you are, Mitch, but I will keep you a dish if you're going to work your way down here.
Hey, I might just have to look at the schedule and try and make some arrangements.
Yeah, we'll do it, man.
Let's make it happen. So BYU checks in at 7 in the college football playoff poll, the first one released last night. Is that about where you thought BYU would end up at?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in the AP poll, getting up to 8, I thought they had a chance to be ranked a bit higher than some of those one-loss teams, and they moved them 1. So, I like it. I agree with it. I love that Texas Tech is right behind them. I mean, this is an ideal matchup, and I honestly couldn't be more excited for this weekend.
You talk about it being an ideal matchup, and you've been a part of the BYU broadcast How many years is it now? 8, is it?
Yeah, 8 seasons.
8 seasons. We're looking at a 7-8. We're looking at game day. We're looking at a 11 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Mountain Time kick. Have you been a part of a game that has this level of magnitude?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's everything. I mean, I've been a part of games that were super exciting on our side, right? We're going into some big games, being the clear underdog and walking away with a win. Like I remember calling the Tennessee game back when Zach Wilson and Micah Simon there late in the game. Wisconsin going in, getting a big upset win there. I mean, those were big games, but that was for BYU as a significant. Just like they shouldn't have won that game because they weren't ranked. And then you draw it up here, and this is a top 10 matchup. I mean, the buzz is felt everywhere I go. I mean, I walk into work and everybody wants to talk about this upcoming matchup, and it's pure excitement. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime game. It feels like. The hope is they continue to, the Big 12 is on the rise, and that these matchups continue to happen down the stretch and even into, the next couple of years. But this is kind of new territory, and we're all feeling it right now, which is cool.
Kalani Sitake said earlier in the week that this is the best defensive line that they have faced so far this year. When you look at what Texas Tech wants to do defensively, look, they're all about TFLs, they're all about sacks. How creative is Aaron Roderick going to have to be to make sure the Bear Bachmeier stays upright? Or do you think BYU's got the horses up front to just be able to handle it straight up?
I mean, I think that's the question mark right now, because one thing that's been incredibly, convincing this year for BYU is just how strong their front five have been in the run game. And I say front five, I should say front six with Carson Ryan and his ability to move the pile as well. And I mean, their run blocking game has been so good, and so it makes for an intriguing watch this weekend, just given how dominant Texas Tech has been this season in stopping the run, but also how powerful BYU has been. And this BYU offensive line, I mean, they've as of late have gotten some pretty good credit, but I mean, this is a group that is, I mean, they're nasty. They're powerful. There's a lot of depth there too. I mean, there's so many guys, and they're coming into this game healthy that can get in there, mix it up, and with an additional week of prep and rest, like I have no doubt that they're going to come out firing. And I think the question mark is what does that battle in the trench look like? I feel good about BYU's ability to still move the ball. They've done it so well. The wrinkles that Aaron Roderick has been able to mix in. I mean, having a running quarterback like Bear Bachmeier, it's something that you have to account for as a defense. With the combination of him and LJ, some of the misdirection stuff, some of the, even putting LJ Martin as a lead blocker for Bear. I mean, that can make a really challenging task for Texas Tech to stop. So, I mean, I like the matchup, but it'll be, I mean, a true test. Who's got the real strength there on the line?
It feels like about a month ago that you, Greg, and I were on the broadcast in Ames, and you saw L.J. Martin go down. You saw him head to the medical tent. I know it was kind of a somber moment for the broadcast, because we're thinking, geez, how bad is it? How long could it be? And now you're hearing Aaron Roderick and others mention that L.J. Martin is going to give it a go against Texas Tech. Your thoughts on L.J., the importance of him playing in this game, and not just playing in this game, but being healthy enough to do what L.J. does?
Yeah, I mean, it's so critical. And by the way, on the news and the reports, like I was coming into this week just expecting that BYU would have to make do without him. And so it came as incredible news that he's healthy enough to give it a go. And I hope he can stay that way, because it's a true difference maker with him on the field in so many different ways. I mean, I briefly mentioned his run blocking ability. But in addition, I mean, outside of that, though, he's a powerful, strong runner that defenses have to account for. And I do. I mean, I think he wants this more than anything. I think all those players on that roster right now, they recognize that this is a I mean, this is one of the biggest games in BYU history, and they all want to be part of it, especially a guy like LJ. And so I'm sure, I have no doubt that he'll be playing through some pain. Just given, I mean, Hans, you know this, like very rarely will you ever go into a game feeling 100% healthy. But in a game like this, I have a hard time thinking that anything will keep them off the field because they all want to be out there and contribute to such a highly touted and watched game this weekend.
As a receiver, how difficult if JoJo Phillips gets back into the lineup? There's weeks where he's been out and he hasn't been able to continue to develop that relationship with Bear Bachmeier. How hard is it as a receiver to get back in the mix and feel comfortable with that connection with your quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll take some time. The hope is, I mean, that as long as JoJo's doing what he's supposed to do there, running the right routes, getting the right depth in those routes, and really just modeling his play after what Parker and Chase have been able to do, I think he can slip in pretty nicely in just being kind of to spell Chase or Parker in those moments. But if I'm Aaron Roderick, if I'm Fessy, I mean, it's going to be hard not to just ride the hot hands right now with Parker and Chase. Like, I don't know how much that's going to matter because those two have been as solid can come. And it's just been really, really exciting to watch those guys build the connection, build the camaraderie that they have and the trust that they have with Bear, because those two have been lights out. And with Bear getting more comfortable, like I think JoJo can achieve that status. I don't know how quickly that hits for JoJo, but it's definitely possible, and he's got the talent.
Mitch, I love having you on just with your insights and all your experience, and I love the fact that you get to wander the sidelines during games, jump on with Greg and I, kind of give your thoughts. And as you're wandering the sideline and you're walking past Jack Kelly or you're walking past Glasgow, two critical pieces in the remainder of this season, you've got to have them both, and they have to be clicking at a high level, especially against Texas Tech. Give me your thoughts, because Glasgow looked banged up. Jack Kelly obviously left later in that game against Iowa State. But give me your thoughts on those two linebackers, where you feel like they're at health-wise and how important they are this weekend.
I mean, incredibly important. Again, I hope the usage of this bye week and the key timing is going to give those guys the right amount of rest and treatment. I hope those guys are living in the treatment room. I hope they were doing that this last week, and because they are. I mean, they're absolutely critical to the way that the defense performs, the way that Jay Hill has schemed up and utilized them in certain situations. They're incredibly hard to replace on the defensive side. And so at least having them out there is going to be good. But, I mean, we've seen it. Isaiah, I would almost even say Isaiah Glasgow, he hasn't missed time, like too much time, and he was never out for a game like Jack was. But he did look pretty banged up. And so I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that they're – they can let the adrenaline kind of take over and be able to manage the pain that they're potentially feeling pretty well, because BYU is going to absolutely need them on the defensive side. And I'll say too, I mean, Siale Acera, we saw the absence of him leaving the field this last game, what that did for the defense and the kind of the big gap that they had to overcome with just recognizing his absence and with him being back as well. I mean, those are three linebackers that have all dealt with injuries, and hopefully that they're as close to 100% as possible, because BYU is going to need them.
When you're watching this offense, how much freedom is Aaron Roderick giving Bear Bachmeier at the line of scrimmage to make his checks and to change plays at the line of scrimmage? And if so, how rare is that for a true freshman to be able to have the intelligence to be able to make those kind of calls?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty rare. I don't know. I mean, I go back to my playing days, and Robert Anae is the offensive coordinator. I don't think he gave, those freshman quarterbacks too many opportunities to kind of do whatever they wanted. But you're seeing it. I mean, you're seeing it every week. You're seeing Bear have a little bit more control over some of those line of scrimmage, calls that he makes and adjustments and changes that he executes there at the line of scrimmage. And I think that just speaks to, one, his talent, his recognition of the game, his ability to understand and dissect defenses a little bit more now than he did at the beginning of the season. And A-Rod trusts him. I think the entire team trusts him. There's still going to be moments and situations where you'll see some critical timeouts that they call because they don't want to give Bear too much responsibility there. And I think that just continues to help his development because yes, he's improving. Yes, he's an 8-0 true freshman starting quarterback, but that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be looked at as a freshman, because I still think there's so many development opportunities, and you'll see that with I think Hans, we've even talked about this, like there are moments where they call timeout and they're probably feeding Bear the next 2 or 3 plays in some of these significant as the clock's winding down at the end of a half or the end of a game, because they recognize, like, we've got to take advantage of this timeout to coach him through these situations and scenarios just to help slow the game down for him and take some of that, that thinking out of it. And so I'm sure we'll continue to see that, as they're not going to unload everything and give him full reins and full responsibility at any moment to do whatever he wants. But you are seeing that uptick week after week.
Well, we appreciate it, Mitch. Always good catching up with you. Okay, Hans, let me ask you this real quick. All right, prime Hans Olsen, 1999, 2000 Hans Olsen, offensive lineman, professional football player, versus Mitchell Juergens here at Kenny J's Barbecue.
In an eat-off?
In an eat-off. Could you hang with him in your prime?
Is this before or after Mitch ran a marathon? Because if it's after, I can't hang.
Really?
If it's before, I think it's a wash. I think it's a push on calorie and consumption. But if it's after, Mitch's calorie consumption, I mean, we're talking 12,000 in a meal. Mitch, I mean, that's not a stretch, right? Like, you've pulled in 12,000 calories in a meal, haven't you?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's all about speed. As long as you get it down fast, then your body doesn't have time to recognize how full you are yet. So,
there you go.
I'm a speed eater, but I enjoy every fast second of that.
All right.
Sitting down with Mitch and Greg and having a post-game meal, it's about as fun as it gets.
Oh, I bet.
And we're lined up for Uncle Julio's coming up Saturday after BYU's victory, and we're all going to be taking in a lot of calories.
Mitch, you're the best. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mitch.
Mitch Juergens right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Because I remember you were like order like 4 or 5 Whoppers. Wasn't there like a Whopper challenge you did once?
Yeah. It was. Was it 2 for 2? I think it was 2 for 2 Whoppers.
Yeah.
But that was when I was a senior in high school, and I ate 6, but one of them had bad tomatoes on it, so I got food poisoning, and that was horrible.
Yeah. And it was probably the last one.
It was the last one that hurt.
It's always that last one that gets you. Hans and Scotty, we continue on Cougar Preview Show live here at Kenny J's Barbecue in the District in South Jordan. Come on by, grab some great barbecue. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It doesn't get much bigger than this. BYU and Texas Tech. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Live here at Kenny J's Barbecue, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Tell you what, some of the best barbecue you'll ever have. I'm posting pictures of, he's got pallet after pallet stacked with post oak. Stuff just shipped in right from Texas.
Yeah, ready to smoke the most amazing meat you've ever had. Really quick before we jump out to our next guest here in a few minutes. I don't like low-hanging fruit when it comes to football games.
Yes.
but I'm actually going to make this one of the keys to the game because it's so significant and it's just so glaringly obvious. Texas Tech has forced 20 turnovers. 20 turnovers. Now, BYU's fantastic with their fumbles and with their interceptions. They're great. They've forced 16 on the season, and they're up there.
Yeah.
Texas Tech has forced 4 more turnovers, 20 turnovers so far this season. Now, here's the good thing. BYU's only given up 6. Texas Tech has given up 12. So the turnover game is going to be critical because we watched Jacob Rodriguez force multiple turnovers, both against Utah and Kansas State, with his punched forced turnovers. He is the king of it. We know that Bryce Pollock is as good of a corner as you're going to find in the country, and he picks balls off when you target him. He's got 4 interceptions on the year. We know that David Bailey has multiple strip sacks, and in fact, 1 strip sack that I think he returned for a touchdown off a scoop and score. So this is a team that is packed full of defenders that know how to get the ball back. If BYU wins the turnover margin, they win this game. To me, it really is that critical. If they lose the turnover margin, they lose this game. BYU, I think, won 2 games this year where they lost the turnover margin.
Yeah.
They will not win this game.
Yeah, you can get away with that with some teams. You can't do that against Texas Tech on the road.
It's critical. These guys are very, very good at forcing the turnover.
Do you think Kalani practices punching the ball out? Sorry.
Oh, I think that would be a good idea.
I think that's something you should do. Chris Level from the Texas Tech broadcast joins us next.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
It's a much-needed bye week for the Utes as they get set for the final stretch of the 25 season. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Yeah, I mean, we started diving into them last Monday of the bye week. I just treated it like a normal week, and they're a great team. Great up front. They got some really, really good edge rushers, especially some really great interior D linemen, some really great linebackers as well. So I'm just excited for the opportunity to play against the best. You know, that's what you want to do is play against the best, and that's what we get, right? That's the chance that we get right here. And so what a fun opportunity for us. Got a lot of respect for those guys on that other side of the ball. So it's going to be a fun challenge for us, but definitely excited for the challenge ahead.
That is Andrew Gentry for BYU. Cougars get set for an absolutely massive showdown against Texas Tech in Lubbock. And joining us now, one of our favorites, Chris Level's been on the show a bunch, part of that Texas Tech broadcast, also the host of the Locked On Texas Tech podcast as well, part of that Locked On network, that empire that David Locke has built. By the way, we got to start getting David on. It's about that time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's jazz time.
For his weekly visit, for his weekly soliloquy, when he just won't shut up.
Yeah.
All right, Chris joining us. Chris, how you doing, man?
Hey, Chris.
I'm doing good, boys. How are we doing?
Good. All right, so were you surprised at all to see BYU ahead of Texas Tech in the college football playoff poll?
Man, I don't know what to think about all this stuff. No, not really. I mean, I guess I was surprised that 3 Big 12 teams listed before the first ACC team. I was surprised that Tech is favored by 9 or 10 points. I mean, it's just, we're all trying to process this stuff in real time, and we don't know what's what, but ultimately you just have to get results and you just have to keep winning, and usually that stuff sorts itself out. But this is going to be and this is great for the Big 12. What a fun opportunity for the league, for these 2 programs. And I don't know if anybody really saw this coming. We're not back in August circling this game as like, that's going to be the Big 12 game of the year. It's going to be a top 10 matchup. No, this is just not where we were at. And but it's pretty clear these are the 2 best teams. And I'm glad that they don't miss each other and that they actually get to play in the regular season, and it's very meaningful. And it should be a lot of fun. But my poor city here is busting at the seams They're camping out. It's just wild and crazy here. So I'm if you're Joey McGuire, you're trying to keep your kids from avoiding all of those distractions and things like that. But pretty big stage on Saturday morning here in Lubbock.
Which is a tall task when both these teams check in the top 10 in the first college football playoff polls. It's pretty incredible and exciting. I want to get into the matchups and some of the X's and O's of this. Help me understand how they use David Bailey. Are they opportunistic with him? Do they rotate him? Do they try to find matchups, strengths, weaknesses, or do they just line him up on the blind side and say, go?
Yeah. So when they put all this together, we knew that it would be much better than their defense was last year, which was really bad. And I knew it would be good, but I'd be lying if I told you I thought it would be this good. I think the coordinator deserves a lot of credit, Sheil Wood, and they do use him in a variety of different ways. I think that he rotates in some. There's times earlier in the year where he's not even in the game, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is he just not in all the time? But I think that they've got some depth, and he plays the run much better than I would have thought, because you hear, hey, he's a pass rusher, and then you think, he's one-dimensional, he's a one-trick pony. This is not who this player is, or Romello Height for that matter. And it's been fascinating to watch the improvement, because, guys, this was a defense last year that ranked like 125th or something. And now they're in the top 10, and they have the number one rushing defense in the country, and they've just done it with a new coordinator and some new players and a lot of the old players, and it's really looked completely different, and it needed to be. I didn't know if I thought it would need to be this good, but Bailey's just an absolute menace. And I will tell you that the whole Stanford thing that leads us to this is crazy to me, because if Stanford doesn't fire their head coach, David Bailey's not chasing after Bear Bachmeier on Saturday morning. And BYU may have gotten the better end of that trade. As crazy as that sounds too, because David Bailey leads the country in sacks, but you got a true freshman quarterback that's just been lights out. But these two teams certainly benefited from Andrew Luck's decision to move on from Troy Taylor back in the spring.
Chris Lowell joining us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What has really impressed you about the development of Baron Morton?
Well, he's had a rocky year, and I felt bad for him just because it's like, man, he just can't. He can't get. There's no normal for him. He's dealt with a bit of an injury from the first game, and then he's kind of been in, and he's kind of been out, but. What we have all learned, as good as Will Hammond has been, and I know Will had a big game up in Salt Lake City. He played really well against Kansas in the second half, and he's now out for the year. But what we're all realizing is just Barron's presence and some of the intangibles that he offers up, and the checks at the line on the RPO concepts. Whether I give it, whether I throw it, just all those little things that you maybe don't appreciate as the game is going along. He typically has his team in the right play, checks to the right play, gets them out of a bad one, and I think that's what really I've noticed and have appreciated. And I think just his presence and leadership has certainly meant a lot to this team. But this is kind of his swan song, and all roads lead to this. And last week was big, and certainly this week will be even bigger.
I know he's been in and out of the lineups. How's his health?
I think he's fine. He's just going to deal with the minor leg injury. Is his calf, and he can still run around and all that. I think that sometimes as the game goes along, he limps a little bit, but he's fine. I think it's just going to be something that they have to manage the rest of the way, and it is. You don't really have a plan B at this point. So, but he still throws it great, and he took off and ran it a few times in Manhattan last week, but yeah, he was definitely as excited as anybody after that game was over in Manhattan last week.
There's a few guys on the defensive side of the ball for BYU that I would heavily consider for defensive MVP for the Big 12, but I'm afraid everybody's going to be second place behind Jacob Rodriguez. I don't even know what to say about the guy, Chris. 77 tackles, 7 forced fumbles. What can't he do? And what does he mean to this team? How healthy is he, and what do you expect from him on Saturday?
Yeah, I was mentioned. Somebody asked me about a month ago. Hey, is this kid better than Zach Thomas? And because around here, that's about as heavy a praise as you can offer up. Zach is an NFL Hall of Famer. His name is in the Ring of Honor, which they've only got like 7 or 8 players that they put up there. And I just kind of scoffed at the question, like, okay, come on, we're getting ahead of ourselves. And I'm not so sure that he's not better than Zach was as a college player to this point. And that's about as – I mean, he's a former quarterback. I work for a school district here in Lubbock, and that particular school played against Jacob's high school team, I think, 7 times over 3.
Chris has left the building.
Uh-oh.
We'll try to get – oh, there he is. There he is. Still there. Go ahead, Chris.
I was like, I can still hear you guys. Yeah,
no, you were just saying that you played him your school district played him 7 times. That's where you cut out.
And he was he's just a really good player then. But Joey Tate, he wanted to play linebacker, and that's the best decision you can make. I mean, the guy's just his IQ is just off the charts. He just is where he's supposed to be. The uncanniness of being able to punch the ball out is just crazy. And you can practice it and all the things, but you just got to get it. And it's been very impressive to watch. He's healthy, and he's such a great human. That's the other part. He's grounded. He's very humble. He's well studied. I mean, it's everything you want. And I think he's probably played his way in a pretty good situation with the Capitals around next spring.
Well, Chris, we'll let you go. Appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, and look forward to catching up with you again down the line here.
See you Saturday, Chris.
Hey, thank you, guys. You guys keep hope alive, and have a good rest of the week. Appreciate it.
You got it. There he is, Chris Level. He is hosts the Joey McGuire Weekly Coaches Show. He's working the sidelines for the Texas Tech games as well, and host of the Locked On Texas Tech podcast.
Okay, let's just give you a little bit of a perspective here. Oh, my internet's not working.
Yeah, mine blew out on me, too, in the middle of that interview.
So right now, Jacob Rodriguez has 77 tackles. He is leading the Big 12, and he's got the 7 forced fumbles. And he's kind of their do-it-all guy. If you take a look at BYU, right now their tackle leader is Falatau Satawala at 53 tackles. Now, Satawala has been nothing short of special and critical for BYU as Raider Dumuni went out, and now we're expecting Raider Dumuni to be available. We might see a bit of Raider and Satawala mixed with some Tanner Wall, because Tanner Wall is currently sitting second in tackles at 38. I mentioned Jacob Rodriguez being number 1 in the Big 12 defensive MVP race and everybody else being a number 2. Let's just take Jack Kelly, for instance. Now, Jack was injured, and he's been banged up, so his production has slowed down a little bit, but he's got 35 tackles and 5 sacks to go against Rodriguez in his 77 and all the forced fumbles and everything else that comes with him. I think he's a shoo-in. If he stays healthy and just continues partial production, he's a shoo-in. And he better be the focus and the emphasis of this BYU offense in their front.
There's some guys that you just have to identify when they're out on the field and where they're at. And he's one of those guys.
And listening to Chris say, I'm to the point now where I could say he might be better than Zach Thomas.
You're talking about a Hall of Fame. I think NFL Hall of Famer.
He's an NFL Hall of Famer. He's one of my all-time favorite linebackers. And that's Jacob Rodriguez. And he mixes with a couple of guys that make him just very, very dangerous. And this Texas Tech defensive line, they did it against the University of Utah, and they're going to try to do it against BYU, where their defensive front is going to try to take up the bulk of the blocking, and their linebackers move free. So BYU's going to have to do a good job of getting up to the next level, picking up Jacob, picking up these linebackers, and being able to open up some of these gaps. We've seen Bear Bachmeier at times run free up the middle, including a couple weeks ago against Iowa State, where he found some room up the middle. The legendary run against University of Utah up the middle for that touchdown, dragging a couple of defenders. Texas Tech will tighten down those gaps. They flow with their linebackers, and those linebackers they hit you hard, and they cause turnovers. So all I'm asking is get a hand on them. In your combo blocks, and I don't like to leave the down lineman too early, but in your combo blocks, make sure you're taking over that block and getting up the next level and at least getting a hand on to slow down the speed of these linebackers so they don't get those free and clear shots that jar those balls loose.
Yep.
That's where it comes down to. I mean, I'll give you the explanation of why and what and how to fix it. So how do you fix it? Get clean off the combos. How do you get clean off the combos? Make sure that your takeovers are right. And make sure your footwork is right for the takeover so that I can get up the next level and get a hand on him. And if I can do that, well, then L.J. Martin's going to go get you 4 or 5 yards. And you can average 4.5 to 5 yards per carry. You got to be up in around that 4.5 to 5 yards. You can't be 4 and under.
To get to that magic 160
The
number.
160 that you got to get to. So, the details on this crap, it keeps me up at night. And, you heard Andrew Gentry coming in from the break, and Andrew's he's been so beautiful off that tackle position. Him and Jada have really held it down. This is going to be their biggest test by a country mile. And I asked about David Bailey's usage, and you heard him. He said, no, they're pretty creative with him. If they're creative with him, I kind of have an idea of what they're going to do with him.
Yeah.
And if they figure that out, David Bailey could have a really good night.
Yeah.
Or Aaron Roderick could say, oh, I see what I know better what Hans knows. So I'm going to connect a Kean Need. I'm going to connect a Carson Ryan. I'm going to use an L.J. Martin. And we're going to figure out all of our combos and all of our touches and all of our chips. And we're never going to let David Bailey just have a free path.
Yeah.
And we're going to always get our combos up and get a hand on Rodriguez. Those are the two things. Critical.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It doesn't get much bigger than this. BYU and Texas Tech, your home for the best coverage of Cougar football, is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is your Cougar preview show as we get you ready for BYU and Texas Tech. Even though Utah's not playing, we will have your Ute preview show tomorrow with Frank Dolce, and then a Football Friday with Alema Harrington and Ron McBride coming up on Friday. So we got you covered, folks. Everything you need to get you ready for another weekend of college football. In fact, I'll be up in Logan with Bronco Mendenhall later tonight talking some Aggie football. So, Hans, when you look at this game and you go Texas Tech is a 10.5-point favorite, I don't see this as a 10.5-point game, but I can't figure out where I'm leaning right now on this one, whether it's BYU or Utah, or BYU or Texas Tech. I think I like BYU plus 10.5, but I'm not quite sure on if BYU actually wins this thing outright.
Well, there's a real advantage to having that bye week while Texas Tech is dueling it out with Kansas State.
Yeah.
And the numbers on that game don't show just how physical and how tough a game that was. In fact, David Bailey went down in that game, the defensive end that I've been talking about. He went down in that game, but he did return. But it was a physical game, and I know it beat Texas Tech up pretty good. The bye week giving BYU an opportunity to get quite a few critical pieces back. Now we're going to see it play out and see how healthy they are. So I'm going to put it this way. If L.J. Martin is 90%, if Jack Kelly, Ciale Acera, and Isaiah Glasker are all 90% plus, I think BYU wins this game. I feel pretty comfortable and confident. We've had enough of a sample size of Bear Bachmeier in big games, not turning the ball over, to know that he's good at it. He knows the importance of it. And I'm sure it's been restated a few times over the bye week. So he's a smart kid. He knows what type of chance it gives BYU if you just don't simply give Texas Tech an extra possession. So I trust that. I trust Bear Bachmeier in his sturdy build and his running ability with that sturdy build. Something we have not seen truly maxed out is Carson Ryan.
Yeah.
I still think that we've seen a lot of blocking from him, and we've seen some good catches from him. I don't think we've seen him take over a game like great tight ends can do. And what I'd like to see is if Carson Ryan matches up well with whoever they find in nickel or whatever outside linebacker they find responsible for that coverage, if they feel like Carson Ryan has the edge and advantage, target him, go to him, and hammer that until they focus, until they crunch down on him, and it leaves some other open crossers or opportunities for Parker Kingston, who's really started to peak. Mm-hmm. But I still think that there's room for Carson Ryan to grow, and I expect him to be a huge piece of the game plan going in to this Texas Tech game.
We talked about physicality of Texas Tech, and we watched it against the University of Utah. And Kyle Whittingham said afterwards, hey, this doesn't happen to us often, but we got just bullied at the line of scrimmage. So we know that they can be physical, but on the defensive side, from an athleticism, from a speed standpoint, is this a team that you can't go sideline to sideline on because they'll chase you down?
Yeah, you remember the outside runs didn't work against Iowa State.
Yeah.
And they had to go all interior. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yep.
Iowa State's exterior speed was just too good. Utah's was too, where they would get out there and they would hit the edges. And BYU did a really good job of just coming back inside. Their interior zone schemes and their interior zone reads are lights out good. And the blocking schemes are lights out good. And one thing that I'm really encouraged by, and Mitch Juergens kind of mentioned it, I think that this offensive line has a massive ego. And I think they've got massive personality. And I think that they're going to rise to the challenge. I really believe that. You know Waylon Lapuaho.
Yep. That guy wants to scrap with anybody.
Nobody scares him.
No.
He's not looking at Texas Tech like, I don't know. He's looking at Texas Tech like, I am going to drive these guys into the ground.
Yeah.
Bruce Mitchell, former wrestler, former defensive lineman, he's the same way at the center position. He will grind and wall off and edge anybody. Same with Leusa and Mocassini. Like, these are gigantic personalities, big egos that love the interior smashing. And, I look at Mocassini, Leusa, and Lapuaho to bring kind of that Polynesian badassery. That I always looked to my Polynesian teammates as, when we're going into battle, when we're really going to go into war, these are the guys I want to go to war with, because they'll put on the face paint and they'll be the first one to charge.
Yeah.
And so I need them to be that, crazy, intimidating presence that they've been all year. And that's who they are. And I can't tell you how much I love Waylon Lapuaho as an interior leader. And it's been understated how important this offensive front has been. So including them and then throwing in Jada and Gentry at your tackle positions, I know this is a really good Texas Tech front. I know that BYU's offensive line isn't afraid of anybody. I know TJ Woods over the last 2 years may have been as big a piece, not quite as big as Jay Hill, but as big of an addition as anybody else, close to.
Yeah.
What he's done with his offensive line talent and how much he's improved the run blocking schemes. But if you really want to identify how this game is going to go, it's going to be based on BYU's offensive front. That's how Texas Tech beat Utah.
Yeah.
And by the way, it wasn't as much as their offensive front five as it was, and I pointed this out multiple times, was their tight end their 2 or 3 tight end sets, their receiver blocking, and their running back blocking. That was the biggest issue. Remember, Tech was slicing gaps, and they were slicing gaps on the outside, and whether it was Lander Barton, who was a little bit green in blocking, or it was one of 3 different tight ends that they were using, Texas Tech was getting the angles, hitting the gaps, bubbling all the runs, and making cleanup tackles 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So those are the types of things BYU can't do. I don't like the exterior runs.
Yeah, I don't either. Take the fly sweeps and put them somewhere else.
Run them twice.
Yeah. Just to show that you're willing to do it.
Yeah.
And then give it on the dive and fake the fly sweep after that.
But, this team has built a pretty beautiful identity that they aren't going to back down from anybody.
Yeah.
And on the defensive side, that largely comes from your linebackers.
There's no smoke and mirrors with this team. Like, they are who they are.
They are who they are.
They're coming to punch you in the mouth. That you know what they're going to do for the most part. Now, granted, Aaron Roderick's been very smart with his scheme, but you know their general philosophy of how they want to attack you.
Well, yeah, it's you've already brought up the comparison of the Utah Jazz with Jerry Sloan in the pick and roll. It's like Texas Tech knows that the zone read is coming, and they know that the RPO is coming. But how do you stop it when it's run the right way?
Yeah.
Where is our emphasis? Where is our focus? And that's why L.J. Martin is so important, because if L.J.'s not in there, my emphasis and focus is not on Preston Rex. It's not on Enoch Nawahine. It's on Bear Bachmeier.
Yeah.
But if L.J. Martin's in there, L.J. is the 13th leading rusher in the country right now at 100 yards a game. By the way, I think that's largely, too, why L.J. does not want to miss a game, because L.J. knows he's 1 or 2 big runs away from being put up on a draft board and being looked at really closely.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, well, what did he do against Texas Tech?
Right.
Well, he didn't play. He was injured. Oh, okay. I would really like to see that film.
And L.J. Martin as a junior, it's time.
Yeah.
Like, it's time. And I know that he's on people's radar, but he wants to be the dude.
Yeah.
So this is a big game for him. And he's going to have to give it everything he's got.
Hans and Scotty coming up next. We'll wrap up this bad boy. We're live here at Kenny J's Barbecue in the District in South Jordan, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
It's a much-needed bye week for the Utes as they get set for the final stretch of the 25 season. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Wrapping up your Cougar preview show. Hans, on Friday, you'll take off to Lubbock. You guys will have an early morning there in Lubbock, getting you ready for this one. And, of course, having the broadcast, you, Greg, Mitch, on the call on this one. And should be a lot of fun. I'm envious of you on this one.
It's going to be an amazing day, an amazing morning. And this thing is going to come down to how healthy the team was able to get in the bye week.
Yeah.
I could potentially know in warm-ups when they're on the field, watching the way they're taking on the blocks or watching the way they're cutting, just to see their energy. You talked about Coach Nasalki and the way he could identify things when guys would step to the line for a free throw. You can see a lot just by the way somebody's running into the pile, the way somebody's extending their arms to take on the block, to then shed the block. I'll know pretty quick. But if this team's healthy, they win.
Yeah.
If L.J. Martin goes 4 quarters, averages 4.5 yards a carry, they win. If Jack Kelly's healthy and he's able to get a little bit of a rush on Morton and he's able to contain the pocket, they win. If it's the opposite, then it could be a long day in Lubbock. But I don't think that's how it's going to go.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.